It's up for grabs now!
Magic ball from Bergkamp to Patrick Vieira!
Oh, would you believe it? Oh, right, what a way to get it!
Fabulous solo goal by Thierry Henry.
Good evening, everybody. A very, very warm welcome to the Arsenal Lounge, and also a warm welcome to everybody who's watching on Moh's channel. I hope you guys are having a wonderful evening, and we can spend hopefully a good hour or so together talking about Arsenal and see if we can make sense of what has been happening. As always, I'd like to start by just sending thoughts and prayers to people of Iran, my fellow people with a difficult time that you're going through. Mr. Canton, how are you? You good?
Good, mate. Good. Yeah, not bad. Not bad. It's
What's been happening?
Not much. Not much. I was at St Mary's on Sunday. It's weird coming away from a game without winning. I'm not used to this feeling anymore. It's unfamiliar to me. I quite liked it.
Spoiled us a bit, haven't they?
Yeah, they have. So it's not the best, but yeah, we'll go into that and more. But yeah, other than that, all good. I had the best burger of my life today. Like genuinely the best burger I've ever had today. I experienced, which was an amazing
How's that?
thing. Yeah, it was unreal. It was an Oktoberfest burger. It was mad. So yeah.
Tom, did I see something? Sorry, Mo, one second. Did I see something on your Instagram that you interviewed Granit Xhaka?
Yeah, it's down in the mix zone after the game. So some of the reporters, including myself, will go down to where the players come out after the game. So yeah, it's pretty much a weekly thing now. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
It's cool.
Mr. Haidar?
I want to know about this burger, man. Like this guy, Tom, is not like a young up and comer. He's been around the block, and he's saying he's had the best burger of his life.
Yeah,
try it. Where can we go? Is there a halal version?
I'm not sure. I'd be interested to know if they do a version. But it was an Oktoberfest burger, so it was 2 beef patties and cheese, and then sauerkraut on top, which I'd never really had before, but it was all right. And then a whole like bratwurst twisted sausage around the top with some grilled onions, and it was very, very good. Very good.
It sounds completely the least halal thing I've ever.
It does sound that way, doesn't it?
Somehow, I don't think bratwurst comes under halal, Mo. But
it sounds like you get served a pint with it. So
sounds like a heart attack waiting to happen to me. But there you go.
Apart from that, you're good, Mo? Everything is good?
Yeah, everything is good. I just really want to get stuck into slating this flipping ref, slating the
we'll get to
analysis, slating match of the day for not even talking about the moments that ruined that game from an Arsenal point of
view. We'll talk about the ref in good, in good time, and we'll give them a lot of attention today. How's the gym sessions coming along?
Yeah, I hate the gym just being there. Other than that, India beat Pakistan in the cricket because on the last ball they won it, and on the last ball our bowler bowled a wide. I mean, come on, it's just like the basics. So that's upset me quite a bit. But the only good things were that Islam Makhachev won in UFC and Tottenham lost in the Premier League. So that's keeping me sane. And now I have to tolerate Rishi Sunak as Prime Minister, which is also driving me mad. So it's been a roller coaster few days for me. More bad than good.
Lev?
Yeah, I'm good. I just love the fact that Mo has to go to the gym to watch the cricket. But anyway, they must have screens there, Mo. Because
you've got 5. You put 2 and 2 together and got 5. I don't know.
Well, you don't like the gym, so I'm just wondering why you would have gone there. Then you mentioned cricket, so I'm guessing there were screens there.
No,
I just one of them. And plus, we know it's a bit noisy in the house right now, so you thought maybe a quiet time to watch the cricket. But anyway, I had a decent weekend. Thank you for asking, Shaheen. It's taken a little bit of time to sort of get over yesterday's game, but then putting it into context, was it that bad in the sense of a draw? But we'll talk about it anyway. Yeah. Are we overreacting as fans and all that jazz? But we'll talk about it, I'm sure, throughout the show.
And all that jazz, yeah?
All that.
It's a new thing, by the way, that Lev's got. I know that jazz, and I hear it a couple of times.
I've never heard anyone say all that jazz is a new thing.
Yeah, well, it's just to me. Anyway, let's get to it. A fixture that we all predicted a win. We all thought that we will win. But somehow it feels like a loss. It's one of those results that it's a draw. In a grand scheme of things, it's a draw, but it feels like a loss, and a bad loss at that. So was it about, look, Tom, I'll start with you.
Yeah.
Is the fixture pile-up now beginning to show? And I saw a lot of things in terms of team looks a bit, tired. They look a bit, leggy. They not, we're just a couple of injury away from different things. I'll come to the substitution and tactics, but in terms of the performance, the overall performance of the team, what was your thoughts?
First 15 to 20 minutes, I thought was the best 15 to 20 minutes of the season. I thought we were
all over them.
I thought we were brilliant. I thought that what we did in those first 15, 20 minutes was great. And we were rewarded with a goal. But we needed to kind of put the game to bed in that first half. And we didn't do that. And we missed some really big opportunities, unfortunately. I'm frustrated because it's a game that we absolutely deserve to win. It's a game that even, we're going to talk about the refereeing decisions, but it's a game that we should have won through our own control. We created enough of our own volition to win that game. And obviously, Gabriel Jesus, I think, is at the crux of that in terms of missing the opportunities. I thought there were two standout players. In particular, one was Gabriel at the back, 10 clearances. Defensively, he was a rock. Again,
That's
amazing.
today, yeah.
Second was Martin Ødegaard, who created 3 clear-cut opportunities.
Turn it in, Tom. Turn it in, mate.
Tom, I've already had an argument with him this morning.
Does he actually think he was bad?
No, I don't think he was bad, but I thought Granit
always...
Xhaka was probably a lot better than him.
Okay. If Jesus scores, like we're talking about, and if Nketiah scores what is a clear-cut chance, he has 3 assists. Like, if there was a statistic for like a player that has
in the same game, what you
assists that should be, he should have had 3 assists yesterday.
Well, there is, Tom. Big chances created, and yesterday Ødegaard had a few. And actually, I think over the course of the season,
that's what he's supposed to do, no?
Of course it is, but you still give people credit.
What's that? What kind of criticism is that?
He's doing what he's supposed to do.
That's a good thing.
I don't think actually he was the worst player on the pitch at all. And
surely
I think
you should be complaining that he's
let
not
down
doing
by
what he's supposed to do.
and Jesus.
I just find it odd that after that performance, and if I say Ødegaard, was great in that game, and the only thing I think he did wrong was miss that chance that he got back across goal. That's the only kind of slight I have against his performance. Defensively, I thought he was good. He stopped a really strong counter-attack from Southampton at one stage as well and turned it over.
He did.
Got the yellow.
Yeah.
Got the yellow.
No. There was one where he actually turned over possession. There was one where he stopped one with a yellow card as well for a professional foul. But
it was last man when he won the ball, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was last man. And that was, who knows what would have happened if he hadn't have done that. Yeah. So, I was annoyed when he came off. I'm sure we'll come on to Arteta's substitution decisions as well.
There is something I'd like to discuss with Ødegaard later on. So if I've written things down.
Fast forward, mate. I'm done.
Please bring it up. No, it's okay. Go on.
No, I'm frustrated. I'm annoyed. We can't win every game. We can't win every game. We're going to have days like last week where we should have dropped points. We won. Today we should have won, but we dropped points. It's kind of the flip of the Leeds game, if you like. But I came out a lot more worried after Leeds, let's say, than I came out after Southampton. I came out more worried after that than I did yesterday.
Okay. Let me just read out the super chat from Abel W. Thank you very much for your kind donation. Nketiah, a first-team player at Arsenal, was an absolute joke. This guy is a championship level player. Don't play the ref when you're bringing the likes of Nketiah on to win a match for you. we will discuss this a little bit later on, Abel, and I hope you're around and you can let us know your thoughts on the chat as well with regards to Nketiah and the players.
Let's
Mo,
make sure. You said we'll discuss it later. Let's make sure we do. I think that's quite an interesting conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. Well, I've written it down. There are things with it, so I just like to get through these things so we can spend enough time on these topics. So, what was your thoughts on the game?
Arsenal were below their usual level, I'd say overall, and that's mainly second half that we let ourselves down. And football fans do this thing where we seem to separate finishing from all other elements of the game. So we always turn around and say, "Oh, we should have won that because we created so many chances," and it's almost like the finishing piece doesn't count. Well, actually, it's just as much part of the game as anything else, and we don't deserve to win because we didn't finish. But what really frustrates me, though, is that, on a day where our finishing wasn't up to scratch, if the referee's performance was up to scratch, actually, we then go and get a opportunity with an expected goal sort of rate of 0.7 something, which is basically a penalty, is what I'm saying here. And then you would say that's what gets you out of jail on a day when your finishing isn't up to scratch. I'd still say Jesus yesterday, finishing had a lot to be desired, steps up for a penalty, probably scores it. Or Saka, in fact, would take the penalty, probably scores it. So had the ref done his job, we would have won. So there's two conversations there, isn't it? Like, what do we focus on more, our players or the ref? And actually, I feel like who performed worse yesterday? Arsenal players or the referee? Most certainly the referee. And that's where my biggest point of aggravation lies with yesterday's game.
Yeah. Lev, what about you? What was your thoughts?
Disappointed. As the game grew on, I started to worry that we hadn't put the game to bed. I am slightly concerned of Jesus's current form. Not because I don't think he'll get back to form, but I don't think we have enough as backup when someone like Jesus, has a little drought. All strikers have a little drought. I'm sure we'll touch on it, but there were little signs from Jesus in previous games that he's not at his sharpest at the moment. But again, we should have put the game to bed in the first half in particular. Second half, that game felt more like the old Arsenal than the previous games, in the sense of this was a typical performance like last season where we were all over a team. We let them come back into the game, and then you start worrying about whether you're going to even get a point at the end of it. That felt a little bit like last season in that aspect. Don't get me wrong, we're a lot more of a control team. Control games are a lot better. We're a lot more solid at the back. But it was hugely disappointing from the sense of that game was there for the taking. Everybody else had dropped points previously. And really and truthfully, we should have gone home with 3 points. That's why it's disappointing. Is it disappointing to the point that some fans have gone to other extremes? Look, it started to panic and all that stuff. No, I don't think it is. Even when the Invincibles won the league, we drew games. It's nothing new to draw a game. Man City drew a game against Villa a little while back. Was it crisis time for them? So I do think there is overreaction. And sometimes as fans, we do need to take a little bit of a step back and look at things properly. We're not going to win every single game. It's just not going to happen. But then in the grander scheme of things after that game yesterday, look, Spurs go and drop another a couple of points, 3 points yesterday against Newcastle. So it's going to be one of those seasons. But if you look at the start, it's still the best start we've had in years. So there's a lot to be happy about still.
And on that point, just to say that, you remember our conversation from last week after Southampton. That's exactly, this game shows exactly why you should celebrate that shite from last week. Because you don't always get the 3 points. It's a difficult league. You're not always going to play brilliantly. When you do play brilliantly and you still get the 3 points, it feels a damn lot better than this. And that's why I celebrate that.
Yeah.
Good point.
Just want to say, everybody who's watching us, please make sure you hit the like and subscribe to Arsenal Lounge if you're new to Guna Talk TV and Moh Hader. I see a lot of regulars in the chat, like Arsenal Manic, Luke, see Del Boy on the chat, Pierre, and just everybody, just please make sure you hit the like and subscribe. So I've written out a lot of different subjects that I'd like to discuss with you guys individually. One of them, it's for it's for Tom and Lev mainly, and then we're going to discuss ref, all of us together. So I'd like to start off with Tom, and I want to speak to Tom about this because I want to get your thoughts on this. This is not a criticism, Tom. Right? This is something that I can't figure out why.
I would worry when a sentence
yesterday.
starts like that, Tom.
Yeah.
No, especially yesterday, right?
Embraced.
Why is it that Odegaard keeps getting subbed off? It's not a criticism. Don't pull that, Tom. It's not.
No.
Honestly.
You said the word
Especially
Odegaard, I was like,
yesterday.
oh, no.
Loaded,
yesterday,
loaded question.
I didn't watch all of the game yesterday, but I managed to find extended highlights and I watched it. And when he took him off, after that, we were a little bit less. We looked less threatening going forward, and it's been happening for the last few games. I can't understand why. And as I said, this is not a criticism. I'm just trying to find out the reasoning behind it. Maybe there is something that I'm not seeing.
I think Arteta feels as though there's kind of a pressure to give Fabio Vieira minutes. I think that's genuinely what it is. And he just thinks that the most natural thing to do is to do a like-for-like change. I think he got it wrong. I think Odegaard should have stayed on the pitch yesterday because he was our most creative outlet. I think Vieira should have come on. If for anyone, it should have been Granit Xhaka, arguably, just to kind of, add a little bit more verve potentially in the final third and let Partey just sit in. So I think he got that wrong. It's a really short answer. I haven't really got too much more to elaborate on that. I think Arteta got the substitutions wrong.
Is that your personal view?
As opposed to...
No, that's your thoughts on this.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I
also find it strange that it's 1-1. You need a lot of attacking talent, if you like, on the field. He's your club captain, so you need him to be around for this sort of moment. And for some strange reason, he gets taken off.
I just think he sees it as a like-for-like change to give Vieira time. That's all it is. I think he gets it wrong because I think Odegaard should stay on, and Odegaard was annoyed coming off.
I think Odegaard is a better player than Vieira anyway.
Oh, he's of a level above. He's accomplished at this level. And Vieira's still adjusting, but Vieira didn't have pre-season, so we had no time to bed in, and we're now trying to force minutes on him, if you like. He's had some good games like Brentford and Bodø/Glimt at home. He's had some off games like the PSV game the other day at home, and like this. I say like this game. I think he came on for 8 minutes, and I think this will bleed into the Eddie Nketiah conversation as well. There's something to be said about the amount of minutes that we're giving players a chance to try and impact the game. And I think that if you throw Vieira on with 8 minutes to go, when the scoreline's been 1-1 for considerably longer than that, I question how much a sub can really impact a game in that sense. So yeah, go on, man.
Can I add as well? I think, look, firstly, there's just a very basic footballing logic of fresh legs, and that counts for a lot. At that stage of a game when Odegaard has played 75 minutes and compared to Fabio Vieira, Odegaard is going to have less of that explosiveness. Not that I'm not saying that he's an explosive player, but in terms of just finding that half a yard that you do when you have those fresh legs, that's just simply for any substitution part of the logic. And when you're looking at trying to win a game, then yeah, you make that substitution in an attacking sense. When you're looking at trying to close a game out, that's when Rob Holding comes on, because again, he's going to be a bit quicker to everything because he's got fresher legs. That's one thing. Second thing, Martin Odegaard is the sort of player that does a lot of work off the ball. I always say to people, if you think you're watching Martin Odegaard having a bad day, that's because he might not be doing brilliantly on the ball. But when you watch him off the ball and focus on what he's doing on off the ball, and I actually say to people, just do that for 5 minutes. Anytime you think he's having a bad day, look at what he does when we don't have the ball for 5 minutes, and you'll realize, in actual fact, he probably never has a bad day overall because of him being the leader of the press. Due to that style of play that he has, he expends a lot of energy on the pitch. So it makes sense for him to come off because he really is a very hard-working player. And the third thing, when Southampton dropping deep and teams kind of accept that point, then Fabio Vieira has got an ability that Martin Odegaard doesn't, in my opinion, to find the eye of the needle slightly better than Martin Odegaard. Odegaard is much better at dictating tempo, pressing from the front and recovering the ball. But if I wanted that sort of Fabregas-esque quality to unlock a defence, I think actually Fabio Vieira is probably better at that than Martin Odegaard. So they're my three reasons as to why I think that substitution was made. But what I would question is, could you have had them both on potentially?
Yeah. Lev, briefly.
I would have kept him on because I think that even though he might have got a bit more tired, he's the guy that keeps things. He does the transition when we break away. It goes to him. He's the one that sets the tempo going. He has got the ability to pick a pass. He's done it loads of times. I probably would have brought on Vieira as well, but I probably tend to agree maybe the slightly more defensive midfielder to come off because you're trying to get that goal, aren't you? And so maybe someone like a Xhaka to come off with about 10-15 minutes to go. So probably I would have kept him on because he has that ability to unlock a pass, unlock a defense. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay. Mo, I was discussing in a personal call with Lev this morning, and I'd like to talk to you about this.
Horrible call it was.
We are again seeing Tomiyasu starting at left back ahead of Kirantini, and it's not the type of performance that he's putting in that you think, whoa, this is like top notch. That's why he's keeping Tierney out. I'm beginning to think now that he doesn't fancy Kirantini for whatever reason. Maybe he doesn't fit in system or whatever reason. And I saw people questioning Tomiyasu for Southampton goal as well, in terms of his positioning a little bit. How do you think Kirantini is looking at this, that a right back is playing in my position? I still can't get a game. And we discussed this with Tom before the Liverpool game when the team sheet was out. And Tom said that, maybe there's a thinking behind it. And, maybe he wants to tackle Salah, or Lev said maybe he wants to deal with the diagonal ball. But it's the same thing with Southampton. Again, it's one of those things that I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, what is the thinking behind this? I want to know what your observations are on that.
It's a really good question, and it's a question that I've been asking myself as well in terms of, even how does it feel as a left back? And I think we've got two very, very good left backs in Zinchenko and Tierney, though they have their strengths lie in slightly different areas, but they're both very good left backs. So how does it feel to have a right back then take your position, and you're left on the bench? I personally would always play Zinchenko or Tierney, provided one of them are fit. I would not really be looking to put Tomiyasu on the opposite side, but Tomiyasu had a good game against PSV. He got an assist, a very good assist for Granit Xhaka, and it was almost a carbon copy in a sense, the assist that Ben White got for Granit Xhaka. Opportunity to cross it, instead of flashing it across, it's a cut back into that space on the half volley, Xhaka scores a goal. So on that basis, you could say that, well, it actually worked, what Arteta was trying to do. Perhaps he wanted to target the left-hand side of Southampton and give Ben White the license, but then keep that defensive discipline. And Tomiyasu is better at defensive discipline than Kieran Tierney, and therefore that's why he opted for that. And halfway through the game, you're thinking, well, that's worked, if that was indeed the logic, because Tomiyasu didn't get as far forward. Ben White, as evidenced by the assist that he got, did get further forward. Maybe that was the logic, but I'm just asking myself, would Arsenal be a better team with Tomiyasu in his natural position at right back and Kieran Tierney doing the stuff going forward? Or are we a better team, Tomiyasu in his unnatural position left back and Ben White not in his natural position, at right back and him getting forward? I would have gone with people in natural positions. But the question that I've been asking throughout the season on sort of my own content is, isn't it quite tough to change something when it's working so well? And Tomiyasu hasn't been playing right back so far this season. It has been Ben White. It's very hard when you're top of the league to all of a sudden say, you're out. So maybe it's just that. Maybe it's just Mikel Arteta playing players that have done the business so far this season.
I mean, is it not a mistake, as what Tom just alluded to, that we're now trying to fit players in for the sake of giving them minutes or making sure they're playing game rather than. And I 100% agree with you where you play your left back at left back. And Kieran Tierney is not an average left back or an okay left back. He's a very, very good left back.
But
Do you think he gave Tommy minutes for the sake of it? Is that what you're saying?
Come again?
You said there it's important that we don't give players minutes for the sake of. I don't think that's why he started Tommy. I don't think he even started Tommy because he started him in the last 2 games. I think it was a tactical decision.
Didn't you allude to that though, Tom? I'm sure you did.
I did with the Fabio Vieira situation because he's on the bench. Yeah. But with Tommy Asu,
what is the tactical? What is it that he's trying to do playing him there and not Kieran
because
Tierney?
you're going up against a Southampton side that have arguably the best set piece taker in the league in James Ward-Prowse, and it gives you that better defensive ability to deal with those set pieces. They had 9 corners and none of them humbled us. Tommy Asu had 5 clearances in the game. Gabriel had 10. And I think that tactical decision enabled us the foundation. Now, we played, as I said at the start of my monologue at the beginning, the best 15 to 20 minutes of football I think I've seen from this team in the first 15 to 20 minutes. And Tommy Asu started on the left-hand side during that passage of play. I think that the mistake was, not bringing on Tierney immediately when we conceded, because I think the reason why Tommy started is because we've got this balance situation going on. Ben White, as Mo said, is really kind of developing into a player that can actually go forward and can offer something in the final third. And when you had White there and Zinchenko wasn't available, it made sense to put Tierney there at the start of the season because White was still developing that forward-thinking part of his game. Now, White can do that a lot more effectively, as was shown by his assist. And so by playing Tommy Asu there, you maintain the balance because White's the player that goes forward, Tommy Asu's the player that normally sits in. Did you notice, though, that when we made the substitution for Tierney to come on, it wasn't Tommy Asu who came off, it was White that came off because we then switched Tommy to the right-hand side to, again, keep the balance of having one more disciplined fullback and then Tierney on the left-hand side who pushed forward. So it was tactical to choose Tommy Asu. It wasn't done for the sake of it. I said before the game, I personally would have had Tierney myself because I think we needed to go to Southampton and be a little bit more expressive, a little bit more dominant. However, I still think we managed to be that with Tommy Asu at left back, and we dealt really well with the crosses and the set pieces that came into our box from Southampton. In the next game against Nottingham Forest, we should absolutely go with Tierney because we need to go and respond. And I also would go for Tommy to go up against someone like Xavi Simons or Madueke at PSV. But I think there was a tactical reason why we went for Tommy Asu. I think the numbers back that as well.
Lev?
Well, I think Tom quite eloquently sort of explained the reasoning behind it. However, I'll have to say this. I do understand he's really good in the air. I do understand he's very good at one-on-ones. But in a league where all the teams now are pressing really hard and fast, when you're playing on a side that's not your natural side, you're not your natural foot, you have a tendency to maybe not do things as naturally as you would do on your normal side because you're getting shut down. You can almost instinctively deal with it when it's on your natural foot. When it's on your left and you're right-footed, you'll have maybe a tendency to cut in, hesitate. I just don't think... I don't like the idea of it, to be honest with you, too much. Yes, it did work against Liverpool. Yes, I do understand the tactical implications behind it and the reasoning behind it. But at the same time, I do always firmly believe players play best in their natural positions. I do think White's form has created a little bit of a problem for Arteta because, rightly so, White cannot be dropped in this current form. He's playing very, very well. And it's surprised even me. And when you watch him, like Tom said, going forward now, White started to develop in this role. He's playing really well. I say that surprised, but you don't then just go, okay, well, I can't play him on the right. You got 2 left backs, as Mo said, rightfully. Why you then, if I was a left back like Tierney, and I've been waiting for my chance because Zinchenko had come in and taken that opportunity while I was injured. Now that I'm fit and ready to go and Zinchenko's not, I would like the opportunity to stake the claim for that position as a left back. He's not been given that, and it would make me think even more so that a right back is being preferred to me in a left back position, right? And that's when it would start to maybe play on my mind a little bit. But I would strongly prefer Tierney back in that team. Natural left-sided fullback. That's my opinion.
Tom's point about James Ward-Prowse is a massive, massive factor. Brilliant set piece taker. But if you're playing Tierney left back and Tommy right back, you've still got Tommy with the aerial ability to deal with that. And that's why I feel like maybe all of this comes down to the point Lev just made. Maybe Ben White, you can't drop him.
Yeah.
You're top of the league. If he called him into his office, if Arteta said to Ben White, you're not playing tomorrow, I mean, Ben White would have a real good response in terms of an argument to that.
Have you watched his interviews, Mo? He's not that great with words. Some of them are brilliant.
I think it's deliberate. I think it's
I'm sure it's deliberate. I can't wait if there's a chance to speak to him.
I think he'd just point to the league table, wouldn't he? And, it's working. It's so hard. Can you imagine the criticism Arteta would get if he took Ben White out, broke a system that has been delivering for us, where we're top of the league beyond all expectations, and then we got opened up down our right hand side? It's tough.
Yeah, it is
100%. The next one is I'd like to speak to Lev about this, and obviously you guys can come in. But before I start, bear with me until I finish. I'm looking at you, Tom. No faces, nothing.
That means it's about to say something.
I'm going on mute and I'm not coming off.
That means it's about to say something that none of us are going to agree with. But anyway.
No, it's not that. It's not that.
Put yourself on mute, Zad. Try your best.
I'm bringing up topics that is out there for us to discuss. These things are not necessarily my personal views, but we're discussing these issues that are out there. And I'm bringing them on and I'm putting them up to you. So this one, I mentioned about 3 weeks ago that I'm seeing something in Gabriel Jesus that he's dropping a little bit too much for my liking.
Say your exact words, what you use. Give the exact words you used.
I will.
On the phone.
I will. Hold on. I will. I told you, let me finish. That's 3 weeks ago, right? And I said this role was also performed by Lacazette when he was playing it. Now, I'm talking about the role, not the player. I'm not saying Gabriel Jesus is now another Alexander Lacazette, because he's not. Different type of players. Actually, in my view, he's far better than Alexander Lacazette, right? But he's scored, I think, 4 or 5 goals. I think Lev searched it was 5. Sorry?
5 goals in 11 games.
5 goals, right? And yesterday, there was quite a few chances that he could have put away. And if he put away one of those chances, the ref decisions we're going to come to a bit later on will probably not be as bold as they are now. Is there a slight concern that possibly we would like to see Gabriel Jesus playing a little bit further up the field, closer to the goals, so he can finish things and not drop back and do what Lacazette was doing, where he was dropping back, getting involved in the play, bringing everybody in. And to be fair, he was doing that really well. So is Jesus. Now, I'm not saying it's another Alexander Lacazette. I'm not saying because Lacazette was doing this, the role, I have to use this as a point of reference. So I'm not particularly saying that he's another Alexander Lacazette. I just want to put this out there before people in the comments start losing their shit and Tom Canton start rolling his eyes back for me. So, Lev, take it away, man.
Look, we had this discussion earlier on. I don't think he plays anything like Alexandre Lacazette in that sense. I know you was like referring to him dropping deep. I don't think he drops deep in the sense of the way Lacazette did. Lacazette would struggle to get into the game. He would drop a lot deeper to get into the game. What he didn't have, though, is the legs to get himself into the box after, as well as carrying out this role. The role that Jesus carries out is a number 9 up top on his own with 2 either side of him, obviously, but he does a lot more than Lacazette does. He gets more involved in the overall team play, and he causes the centre-backs a lot more problems. But I don't agree with the fact that he's dropping too deep to get more chances, because you cannot argue that he's getting chances. He's in the position to get in the areas to score. And what I have noticed the last 2 or 3 games is He should be finishing off opportunities that he's not. There was an opportunity against PSV when Vieira put this really beautiful ball in, and all he had to do, if he was a bit sharper, was swivel on it and score. Missed it. The one against Southampton, the one against Leeds as well. He's missing chances that perhaps at the start of the season he would have scored. It is a slight concern. All strikers go through this type of drought, shall we say. I mean, the one concern for me is I've looked at the percentage of conversion rates with strikers in the Premier League, and I mean, obviously we're going to mention Haaland. His his conversion rate is 41%. The second one closest to him is Harry Kane with a conversion rate of 31%. Whereas if you look at Jesus' conversion rate, it's 19% as it stands at the moment. And with the opportunities he's had, that's not a great conversion rate. So we do need him getting more goals. And I do feel that at one point a team's going to be on a hiding due to Jesus, because he will get goals. But I do agree he needs to be more clinical. He's not having the best of spells at the moment. My more of a concern has always been, if there is a spell like this for someone like Jesus, do we have someone good enough to come in and make up for that? And I will still hold my hands up and say, no, I don't think we have. And I think that might also be playing a part because we don't have that second quality striker. I think we're playing him a lot at the moment, Jesus. I know you said, Shaheen, he was off from 2 weeks international break. However, at the same time, we're playing every 3 days, and he's playing in those games. He played against PSV, then he's played against Southampton, and the work rate that he puts in every game is immense. So if we're expecting him to be sharp and fresh in front of goal, we need somebody else that can come in certain games that's good enough to make up for Jesus not being there, so he can remain fresh. And that's where I think the problem will lie long term.
Tom?
I think Lev summed it up brilliantly, to be honest. I think everything there is I think backup wise to Gabriel Jesus, we are looking at Nketiah, who's significantly not as good as him. I always have kind of that sidebar with Nketiah that is his goals per starts ratio is very good. And, when he's asked to play 125 minutes of football across 11 games, I'm unsurprised he's not converted or not scored in those 125 Premier League minutes at all. So far,
he had a great chance when he came on as well.
Yeah,
should have scored.
That was his best chance of his Premier League campaign. Should have scored, absolutely. And I feel as though if he was starting in place of Jesus in, say, these last 5 games, I think he might have scored in these last 5 games if he was starting ahead of Jesus. I genuinely have no issue putting that out there. I think he probably would have taken some of the chances that Jesus had against Southampton. Yes, he missed his own one, but I think had he have started, he's in the game. So there's always that kind of sidebar to it. The other question around when you bring someone in is then, do you fall into this same kind of thing we've got now? Jesus is the clear starter. Do you have a striker that's on the bench that isn't starting Premier League games? Is a striker going to want to come to Arsenal knowing they're going to have to play second fiddle to Jesus? It's a difficult dynamic. In my view, I think we need to find that Diogo Jota style player that can play across the front three and offers us options and depth across those 3 positions, so that if we haven't got Jesus and we don't think Nketiah is the right player to start a certain game, then we can bring that player on. And I think that's what we lack. I think that's what we would have signed had we have not had the midfield issue, which distracted us at the end of the transfer window. And I think that also in terms of the depth across it, I think we're really missing Emile Smith-Rowe at this moment in time as well.
Agreed.
And I think actually his presence in the team is really being missed. So if we had him to come off the bench and Vieira, I really think that would be an extra 2 changes that really kind of improves the. I mean, didn't Smith-Rowe score something like 3 or 4 goals in a row off the bench last season in a run of games?
Good finisher.
So, yeah, we really miss him.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit worrying for me lately. I find myself agreeing with a lot of Tommy's sayings. I need to kind of check to see what's going on or what's going wrong. But Mo, where do you stand on this?
If someone said to Eddie Nketiah, if they offered him this criticism, right, and I'll talk about Eddie Nketiah first, and I'll go back to your original point about you kind of spoke about not the player, but the position, the role that's being asked of them. But first about Eddie Nketiah. If someone criticised Eddie Nketiah, guarantee you the first thing he would say is that, how do you expect me to get into any rhythm when I haven't started, I don't know what it might be, 3, 4, 5 Premier League games in a row? Very, very difficult. But as a young player trying to break into the first team, it is the hardest thing to do. And you just have to take your opportunities when they come. So Eddie Nketiah can say that and feel like that as much as he wants. But the fact of the reality is that chance that he had that we're talking about that, he got when he came on against Southampton, that's your opportunity to get those 3, 4, 5 games. If you take those and dispatch them with regularity and consistency, that's how you get the opportunity. Otherwise, he needs to start asking himself, why has he not been able to convey that confidence that he has in himself, because he believes if he started 3, 4, 5 games in a row, he would be able to do it. Why has he not been able to convey that to other people, his manager, his teammates, for example? And, us four are sitting here. Are any of us convinced that Arsenal would be better off with Nketiah starting than Jesus?
No.
I'm not. I don't think any of you guys are. And for Jesus's misses, his lack of clinical finishing, we realize he does so much around the pitch. He helps Arsenal so much in other areas. So now this takes me to the role. We all agreed Jesus should start over Nketiah. Nketiah, that excuse is not good enough at this level that you haven't started 4 or 5 games in a row. You don't get that luxury here. You just have to manage it. You have to be more clinical when you get the opportunities. But then why is Jesus not being clinical? Some people may argue that due to everything else that he does on the pitch, once he's actually in that position, he's not sort of composed enough. He's not got, the legs potentially, or whatever it might be. They seem to suggest that everything else that he does makes it harder for him to be deadly clinical when he does get opportunities. You see other players who refuse to do all of that work. That's just not them. They say, I'll just get you goals. Like a Erling Haaland, for example, even like a Cristiano Ronaldo, for example. They'll just say, look, that's not me. I'll get you the goals. You get the ball to me, I'll do the rest. And for them, it works. That's not the way Arteta plays. And look, we have to make our minds up here. With Lacazette, right? He tried to do that, but he was hopeless at being in the right place at the right time. Jesus is obviously a massive step ahead of Lacazette because he's doing all of what Lacazette did around the pitch and more, might I add, because of his extra mobility, better dribbling, better pressing, all of that sort of stuff. And instead of Lacazette, where he's not even there when the ball goes in, he's also on the end of chances. So Jesus is doing amazing work around the pitch. He's also getting the chances. It's just that final bit where he's not maybe converting them. Lacazette wasn't even getting the chances. Yeah. So when you compare the two, Shaheen, no, you're not saying that there is sort of a comparison. You're comparing the role. I'm just saying Jesus is much more suited to that role. Now, if I were Mikel Arteta, I would be looking at this thinking he hasn't scored since the 1st of October against Tottenham. He's basically, coming to the end of October now. He's got a long amount of games without scoring. I would, for the benefit of his confidence, because we know players are so confident, reliant, I would be saying to him, this game, let's say, for example, Nottingham Forest, this game, actually, don't do all of that stuff around the work. Main thing today is get on the score sheet so we can get that confidence back, that feeling in front of goal back. And I think sometimes you need to manage that, especially with strikers, to make sure that they don't go too long without scoring and they don't lose focus and they never start thinking that, oh, because I'm doing all the other stuff, it can mask me not scoring, because they have to feel and have that pressure of getting goals. I would rather Arteta did that and tell the other players, you need to step up more in terms of the pressing and chance creation and this, that, the other, because Jesus needs to focus on scoring today.
Okay. I'm gonna ask you guys a question. So if you can answer me with a yes or no, please. And everybody in the comments.
This never goes well.
In the chat, rather, if you can kindly answer me as well. I'll start with you, Lev.
No.
Since I think you're quite smart on this. Do you think Jesus will get us 18-20 goals this season?
18 to 20?
Yeah.
No.
I want to see you guys answer in the chat as well, please.
Is this across all competitions?
Premier League.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, today, Lev, please.
I said no.
You said no.
Did you?
Yeah.
You don't think so?
Unai
Okay.
Emery, have a word.
Yes. By the way, speaking of which, I just
Got a
want to
job at Villa.
congratulate Unai Emery
Nice.
on getting a job at Aston Villa and wish him all the best. You know, I
See
think
the
he deserves
segue
a
I
fair
gave
crack.
him there. I gave him a segue there.
Yeah. Mo,
Across all competitions, yes. No, not Premier League alone.
Tom?
I agree with Mo.
You're
You've muted
unmuted. You're muted.
yourself.
You're muted.
Yeah, all right.
We're just trying to help you out, mate. That's all we're doing.
Around my house, man. So I just put on mute. Right, listen, guys. So this is the next segment of the show. I'd like all of you guys to get involved, especially the people on the chats, right? So I'm gonna put a few
Are you
pictures
in a
on
war
the screen.
zone? It's like machine
You're
guns
mute, man.
going off.
Yeah, sorry. Wait, whilst you're in your war zone, I don't feel like the super chat that came earlier about Nketiah, I don't feel like we've covered that properly because in terms of these yes or no questions, that super chat said he's a championship level player.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I disagree with that. He's not championship level. He's definitely Premier League level, but if he's top 6 or mid-table or bottom 6 or whatever, we can have that conversation. I think that's a more realistic conversation.
I think he's like Southampton or
Yeah,
Brighton or
Brentford. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
I think as someone to play off Ivan Toney, you know,
he's not 100 grand a week. I'll tell you what, he's not.
No,
he's not 100
no
grand
way.
a week. No.
No way.
But I'd like the person who dropped that super chat to let us know whether he means that literally, you know, or am I taking it too literally? Because I think that's unfair on him to say championship level. But is he a good? Like the question I'd ask you is a yes or no. Is he a good enough second choice striker for Arsenal Football Club?
No.
What you're thinking about that, Tom?
It's a second choice, no. But I think if you added that Diogo Jota style player, I think a core of Jesus and Nketiah and that extra player, I think that's a good core.
You do have to remember, if we do get another striker that's really a good striker, you've also got the option as a substitute to push Jesus out wide and play him with that quality striker. You don't even have to lose Jesus. You can make changes like that as well. You know, whereas with Nketiah, I don't know. I just don't fancy the guy.
What I would say is, can any of you name me a striker that's coming off the bench and scoring a lot of goals at the moment? Anywhere, feel free.
Not off the bench, no. Okay. But I mean, like you know, the type of player you mentioned, like a Jota, you could go and get a Trossard, for example.
Trossard, he's not a striker.
Yeah, but he's that sort of player you're discussing, isn't it? You can plug
he is.
Wide,
He would be an investment
top.
that you're not going to see a return on because of his age.
I don't mind. Yeah, I don't mind that actually. I think Trossard. I think his contract's coming up at the end of this season.
Yeah, he's on the last year of his contract.
Yeah. I think it's a fair investment for like wages wise if you can keep them down. I think it'd be a good player.
And that's a player that wouldn't mind coming to Arsenal and trying to get his opportunity.
Yeah, it's an opportunity.
But you know, in terms of,
I'm gonna have to step in, guys, because I'm just conscious of the time, and we still got a lot to get through. So we need to leave that for another day. I'm gonna put a few pictures on the screen, right? And I'd like your guys' opinions on this, and everybody in the chat. This is for everybody to take part. Now, every one of these pictures, I'd like you to tell me, if you were a referee in this game, what would you give out as a punishment? Is that a foul? Is that a booking? Or is it a red card? So,
or nothing. We'll start with this one. This was given a yellow card to Saka, I think, for a dive. It's a free kick yellow card to the Southampton player,
and you can see he clearly takes his leg from the other angle as well.
Yeah,
100%.
he's denying it's not a clear goal scoring opportunity, but he's denying the opportunity to go through. It's a free kick and yellow, I think. You're on mute, Shane. You were saying that with chest as well. Like, that's proper chest of what you were going with.
You know what? That's the best thing you've said today so far. It made the most sense.
Listen, there are people outside my house that are taking a piss with the fireworks. So I have to put it on mute because I don't know if you guys
thought you was in Iran or something like right
Happy Diwali, by the way, everybody.
We don't have a war in Iran, Lev.
All right, calm down.
Stick to your green tea, mate.
But yeah, this is Diwali. This is Diwali celebration. So yeah, happy Diwali, everyone celebrating. But think of the pets, for God's sake.
Yeah, this is like too much, man.
You can get
Yeah,
silent fireworks. these
See,
days,
you
as
don't
well.
have a pet.
No, I don't, but other people do. Lev,
Yeah.
would you like to discuss this on the screen, or you want to talk about other people's pets?
No, I've already said it was a foul, and definitely I would say if you're going to give a card, it's a yellow card.
Okay, Mo,
I
you
think it's
agreement?
foul. I'm not sure about a yellow card. Depends on the context of the game, and you can never judge it from a still. If that's his first offence, no, it's not a yellow card. And also, it's definitely a foul. You look at the fact that there's an arm on Saka. He's got nowhere to go. He can't ride that challenge. He can't do anything. All he can do is take the contact. Definite foul. Definitely not a dive.
Okay. Next one. What about this? Tom.
It's difficult to know the still. I can't quite remember it, to be honest.
I could fill you in quickly, Tom.
Yeah.
This is what's his name?
Lianco.
Lianca. This is an elbow into Martinelli. Do you know when Martinelli fell over and hurt his shoulder?
Yeah.
If you watch it back, it's an elbow, and you see that arm. Look how far away they are. There is no way you could even argue the case
natural,
that's a natural movement.
Yeah, it's a minimum yellow card. Yeah, minimum.
Yeah.
Mo?
Very hard from a still, but so just looking at the still is hard. But I remember in the context of the game, he did that on numerous occasions. He was leading with his elbow. And what really annoyed me was that when it happened to him, I can't remember which Arsenal player did it to him. I think it might have been Martinelli. Then he reacted really badly, and that's I think when he went with his fist twice, or was it Jesus?
He went in with Jesus with the.
He threw a head. Wasn't it him that threw the headbutt at Nketiah as well?
Yeah, it was. And I'll tell you what.
Hold on.
After the game, Southampton fans were lauding this guy, And if that was me, I'd be turning around and saying, "We are so lucky that this idiot did not get sent off."
Like a Gabriel moment, Tom.
Exactly.
Last week.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, I said that Gabriel was being far too.
And he also punched Jesus in the back twice.
Yeah, hold on.
He could have had 3 red cards.
We'll come to this. Hold on. Hold your horses. So this one, you guys agree a foul and a yellow card?
Minimum.
Well, it depends, because if you deem that to be intentional, then it's a red. But I would say generally, a yellow for that, because you don't know. I think it's slightly like, rein it in, don't do that again, yellow card.
Lev?
For me, from how far he is, you can never argue that he's gone up in a natural position. Look how far away he is from there. I mean, it would be a bit much asking for a red, but at least the yellow. Had he been yellowed on that, it might have stopped him from acting. That was early on in the game, by the way. It may have put him, back a little bit and kept him in his box a lot more.
Okay. Right. This one. This looks like one of those ISIS pictures that the guy is holding someone head and is about to do. Like, do you know what I mean? Like that is.
No,
like,
I
how
don't.
is that not a foul, man? Look. I don't know what the guy is thinking. The defender. It does. Look at him.
Back to
Fucking
the
hell,
football.
man. Like, what are you doing? This is what? The ball is not there around my man's neck.
He did this all day long.
All game he did this.
All game. And the referee sets a tempo. The referee sets a tempo with these things. If you get away with one, you can do it again. If you get away with the second, you think I'm laughing. I'm doing this all game long. And that's what Chaleta did all game. So this is a foul. It's not a yellow or a red or anything, but it's a foul, and it wasn't good.
No. But that's a lead up to what happened in the penalty box as well, because it was him that done that as well, wasn't it? Grabbed him when he was running through.
I don't know what is he doing here. Like, and again, this is nothing was.
Look, controversial opinion. It's as long as you don't do that in the area. This one's outside the area. It's good defending, because what you do as a defender, you make a new.
What's the difference if you do it outside the area? It's the same outcome all over the pitch.
No, but the risk is if the referee gives a foul, one's a foul, the other one's a penalty, and that's why you have to change the way you do things in and out of the area. Basically, as a defender, you try and get away with as much as possible, but you don't risk it in the box because the stakes are higher. And as soon as the referee does his job properly, then you have to change, and then you're not allowed to do that anymore. So Galatasaray in this game carried on doing it, and just thought to myself, dreamland. I'm not being penalised. If the referee had done his job, it changes the whole dynamic of the game and how you mark a very tricky player in Gabriel Jesus, and the referee completely failed. That's why we saw Caleta-Sar, and you'll probably show the images later on, in the same movement, grabbing Jesus about 3 or 4 times. And then you go and get...
There we go. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That's another one again.
No, that was another one. That's not the penalty claim. That's another one.
It's
when he
not.
dragged
It's
him
just
down.
another one.
Yeah.
Again, it was nothing. Nothing was given, which is beyond me. So let's go to the penalty shouts
Shaheen lives in the hood.
on Jesus.
Yeah,
So
this
talk
was
to
a
me, guys. What is it that the ref has thought or has seen that has not given a penalty? Because we all agree it's a penalty. So let's see what is it that could have gone through his head at the time.
Well, the referee actually said afterwards in a conversation with Jesus, and Jesus kind of disclosed this, was that the referee said, had you gone down earlier, I could have given it. Players to go down at the earliest opportunity rather than trying to continue and trying to play it in the right way. And the third thing was there was some Sky referee watch analysis. I saw, Tom, you were commenting on this earlier. In that, they actually had the stupidity to say, oh, but Caleta-Sar makes contact with the ball. At one point in this passage of play, if you make contact with the ball after pulling someone for 5 seconds, well, that's how you've managed to make contact with the ball. It's so dumb that they're not looking at it in like literal time order.
They said it was a tangle of legs as well, Mo. Like they completely ignored the fact he's like climbed over the top of him. You know,
coming together as well. I mean, it's such nonsense. The only way Caleta-Sar there has got anywhere near the ball is because he's fouled him in the first instance. So it doesn't matter that he's got a foot on the ball. It's a foul to get there. And then they say coming together and tangle of legs. Why does Gabriel Jesus need to come together? When it's a coming together, you'd assume that's 2 players going in somewhat the same direction. Gabriel Jesus is literally trying to run away from him, and he's being pulled back. That's not coming together. The level of analysis at times that I see out there is an absolute joke. And this really bothered me, because the least that you want, if you don't get the decision in the game, is for people to come around and at least kind of say, oh yeah, that was ridiculous.
Yeah. And you got this one as well?
Yeah, it's the same one. It's the same action. Yeah. It was just before he grabbed him.
But that's where he gets the ball, you see. But there's 5 seconds of fouling before that moment.
Mo, you know, we discussed this topic before on this show, that Arsenal are ref differently. I just put 7 decisions on the screen. 7 decisions, right? That every single one, we all unanimously agreed that it's the ref got it wrong. So that is very, very poor. That is Sunday League standard, man. That is not good enough for Premier League. So do we have an argument now going back to say Arsenal are ref differently?
No.
I kind of think we are. I'm going to say we are. I mean, look at Jesus. He's come from Man City, hardly got any yellows. Comes to Arsenal, he's had the most yellows he's ever had in one season. He's one yellow off being like missing a game.
I just think they're crap, mate. I just think they're rubbish.
Hold on a sec. There was another one that was quite contentious. Ben White in the box, right? I think he went down a bit easy, but still, he was pushed in the back. And literally in the same action, someone else gets pushed in the back by an Arsenal player, given straight away, right? It was, I don't know. I do think we're refs differently. The thing is, with that penalty decision, we all jumped up. I don't know about you guys. I jumped up the minute it happened and said penalty. That's a penalty.
Of course.
No one even looked at it. And to make matters worse, half-time it was hardly even mentioned. The media don't mention it. I don't get it. Any other game, if it was on if that happened to Southampton against us, we did it to Southampton, that would have been all over the screens at half-time.
People in the chat, is it just Arsenal that are ref differently or poorly, or is it just that we're all Arsenal fans and that's why we feel that way?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I think they'll say we ref differently.
I think they will as well.
Tom, what about you? What's your thoughts?
I think that, there's a perception, if you're an Arsenal fan, I'd say 99% of Arsenal fans, the main team they'll watch is Arsenal. I think there is a very small percentage of people that genuinely watch a lot of football in depth around their club. Maybe not 1%, that's probably harsh, but I think that the majority of Arsenal fans are not just only watching Arsenal more than any other club, but are also involved, obviously, in the social medias and the YouTube channels and the podcasts that are all focused around your one club. And so, therefore, your perception is skewed towards that side of things. There's also, human bias involved as well. What I would say is that for me, I just think that the refereeing is awful in the country, is terrible. I think the fact that, as I posted a video about this earlier on Twitter, like the fact that we have referee watches to officiating that has the benefit of being able to go back and see things on replays from multiple camera angles, and former referees are still saying they're getting decisions wrong. I was watching BT Sports Score on Saturday when they missed the Haaland penalty against Brighton. It was a clear foul, blatant penalty for Haaland, should have been given, and it wasn't. And Robbie Savage is sitting there. I don't particularly agree with him on a lot of topics, but he was sitting there, it's a penalty. And everyone in the room was going, it's a penalty. And then Peter Walton said, it's a penalty. And then referee goes, no penalty. And it's like, so many of you can see it. It's like, I use the example of, it's like being given a primary school maths question and you get it wrong, and then you'll get the opportunity to do it again with a calculator and still get it wrong. Like, it's ridiculous that they are allowed to do these things and allowed to get them wrong, and that there's no accountability. And that's the big thing. There's no accountability for poor officiating. There's no relegation. There's no missing a week. There's no fines. I'm not necessarily saying fines should be brought in, but I think there should be accountability in the sense that you should drop down a level, because it's a privileged position to be in as a referee managing in the Premier League.
Tom, what do you think of this idea that the refs should give an interview after the game as well?
I think they should. Yeah, I think they should. Absolutely. It was when I was in the mix zone after the Leeds game, Chris Kavanagh walked past us, and because of all the chaos at the end of the game, and he was he was kind of just walked out of there with his officials, like, wow, what an end to the game sort of thing. That was mad, kind of mental end to the game. And it's in those moments where I wish I could turn around, have you got a set, Chris? Just to talk me through why you made that decision. Yeah. And I feel like they should have to do media. I remember, I can't remember who the referee was, but during the Invincible season, when we played, was it Portsmouth at home, and Perez went down and a penalty wasn't given, and then the reaction of the players made him change his mind. And I think the referee came out after the game actually said that the reaction of the players made him change his mind. Now, whether or not you think it was right to give a penalty in that moment is a different thing. But at least
we know what went through his head.
Yeah, exactly. It's just the thought process that
where the frustration lies for me, though, guys, is okay. Referee gets a decision wrong, but why is it on some instances they insist everything gets looked at VAR? In other instances, we can all see something's happened, and there's no insistence of going to VAR, not even a look at it. Why is that happening?
Matthew says in the chat, I think this is a stupid idea. What the refs say, I didn't think it was a pen because, and that is what it's not a shit idea at all, because what we're asking is for the referee to come out and just explain the process behind why he gave the decision, or at minimum admit that there's been a mistake.
Mic them up like they do in rugby. Mic them up.
Yeah, and I'd love it if they, how I remember they did this with Harry Kane once when he dived, where they actually
made him watch it back,
the replay, and they make him watch it. They record, they literally show you live him watching himself dive and having to justify it. It's brilliant. It's so awkward. I'd love it if they did that with referees.
You know what? Speaking of,
referees need to have, like Tom said, that accountability, because right now they're so protected that actually I don't feel like they. Maybe they just don't feel like there's much riding on it in terms of any consequence for them. And if they know that there's more pressure to get it right because they're not going to be as protected, they're going to have to explain it. There's going to be some sort of jeopardy in terms of a demotion or something like that at the end of it all. Isn't that how you increase standards?
I forgot what I was going to say. This fire.
I hope you've got a bulletproof vest, Shaheen, for when you go to the shops later.
Listen, man, we've been doing this show for about an hour, and it's been going on. Imagine what I have to put up for the rest of the night, man.
It's just another night.
There's a new prime minister.
Oh, this is what I was going to say.
I
remember. You talked about something that has not been... Are you done, Lev?
Yeah, I was just.
We're talking about things that has not been mentioned again in the media and this and that. And Tom, you're more involved in these things than us. What happened to this Henderson and Gabriel business?
I don't know, mate. I don't know. There was I can't remember who it was. It might have been Mark Manbryans that asked the question in the press conference ahead of the game this weekend. He said, what happened? And he said, oh, it's all kind of done. And he said, is Gabriel okay? And he was like, yeah, no, everything's fine. But I don't know what's happened. I don't know what went on. It's just seemed to have been solved internally and nothing's come from it. So, yeah, weird one.
All right.
Okay.
For people in the chat who are questioning, I'm not in Iran. I'm not on a war zone. It's just Diwali, and people are taking a piss with the fireworks. That's what happened. We don't have a war in Iran. We're a peaceful country. So have a war.
That's how
with
you
yourself.
celebrate, though. You shoot up in the sky and stuff.
No, we don't.
I've seen
Arabs
that.
do that. We're not Arabs. We don't do that.
All right,
Mo, go on.
Tom, just on that, because I'm really glad you asked that question, Shaheen, actually, the Henderson Gabriel one. What I mean, like, any idea what it was all about?
All that we know is that the incident that happened between Henderson and Gabriel sparked the referee to have to go over to both managers to say that something had been said. We don't know the context. We don't know what it was. Like, there's been a lot of assumptions made, obviously, about what was said, but we don't know factually what there was, and it's never surfaced. It's never ever come out at all to anyone. It's not even been leaked.
Why is
anyone.
that? But why?
I don't know. Sometimes
Obviously,
things are leaked.
there was
Sometimes
something. Could it, listen? How can I word this properly? Is it because they tried to protect Henderson a little bit? Has he said something?
I could not.
And now because of the World Cup and all that rubbish, they like, oh, let's bring it out a bit later.
It's hard. No one's going to go out on a limb and even speculate, because that's not fair. It's not the right thing to do anyway. I guess we shouldn't do that. But clearly, I think what we're all thinking is, could this have been racial? You know, and it's just a, you know.
Well, Mo, you say this, right? Mo, you say this, but what needs to be said in order for that protocol to come into place, where the ref goes to speak to the managers and then the FA takes account of both players, what has been said? He hasn't called him an idiot or something.
No, we don't know.
He must have said something really bad.
We don't know. We just don't know. He, you know, I don't know. The referee could. We know that referees don't always act how they should or appropriately, because we were just talking about a referee for about half an hour just now being a crap referee. So maybe the referee's gone a bit over the top. I don't know, maybe Henderson's called him a C word, and the referee's gone to the manager and said, I've told your players don't. Who the hell knows, man? I don't just want to assume, oh, it's definitely racial. It just feels odd. It just feels odd because it's not what you typically see on a football pitch. And it would be a bit strange if it was just one player being nasty to another and the referee's gone over. And so I was waiting for this to get clarity on what has happened here in the media. The fact that it's just sort of been internally resolved really piques my curiosity. So I'd love to know.
Lev, you love a bit of conspiracy sometimes.
Look, it wouldn't be the first time something like this has been brushed under the carpet. There's been incidences before. John Terry springs to mind with Anton Ferdinand. That got brushed under the carpet. He carried on playing. I do think if you're playing for a bigger side and you're in the England squads as well, you do get a bit more protection. I'd like to think the Arsenal, if it was something racial, that Arsenal wouldn't just back down and just let it go, and they'd want to do it for their own player, you know. And so would the rest of his teammates. So I'm hoping it's not something that was racial, because if it was one of my teammates that was racially abused, then I'd be pushing all the way, and I'd want my club to do the same.
Okay, let's quickly touch on this prediction table.
Big shout out to Sweet Munchkin, by the way. Just thought I'd throw that in there.
You're a prick, mate.
I think we have to discuss this. Lev, can you elaborate?
Why have you turned him down? Like,
Tom, it was going really well today, yeah?
Well, I would like to know who Sweet Munchkin is. If you're out there,
anyway,
Sweet
this
Munchkin.
is a prediction table.
That's not.
That's 20 years old.
There you go.
This one. No, there's 2 here.
So annoyed
so-
with that picture, Mo. That's why you've mugged me off like that.
Oh, look at me.
So this is as things stand. Obviously, Levy's top of the table. Then is Mo on 15, Tom on 15, and I'm on 12.
Anyway,
Still a lot of games.
Anyway, Sweet Munchkin, we want to
No,
know who you
elaborate.
are out there.
All right, go on. Take it away,
okay.
Lev.
Okay. Sweet Munchkin, I've been looking at the comments recently. We do this, by the way. We do look at the comments. We read them, keep them coming. The more interesting they are, the more likely it is we'll bring it up. But this is one that really tweaked my attention. It really grabbed me. And it was Sweet Munchkin. Hi, Shaheen. I'd like to ask you out. Are you free on Saturday evening? I'd like to share a shisha pipe with you. My treat. I'll pick you up. Will be fun. That was the first one. And this isn't just a one-off, by the way. She has also mentioned she watches the show because you are a very handsome man. And so, to be honest, I don't expect much brains from someone who is so good looking, was the other one. A bit of a backhanded compliment, that one. But Sweet Munchkin, whoever you are, let us know. Let us know. And if we can help you, we will. That is it, Shaheen. That's all I wanted to say. We all deserve some love.
Shaheen, why?
Mo, why are you pulling
I
up?
love
face
the
like you're
serious
gonna say
start to this
something
question.
sophisticated and serious? I know you're going to something.
Shane.
Like, I've got something really intelligent to say here. Shaheen, why did he have
What did you think of the
He's gonna
tactical
bring
side of the
up
question?
he's gonna bring us some statistics.
Oh no. Guys, this is a
Shaheen's
serious
XR, expected rejections.
topic. There's no greater, more powerful force on this planet than love. Okay?
Here, Mo.
This could be the start of something truly beautiful that could change your life, the direction you go in, your contentment on this beautiful earth.
Mo, thank you very much for your kind words, mate. Well, let's get into the predictions for
Could
next
be
week.
your new co-host.
Why
Listen,
Dean, are you not willing to just explore this? And
no,
also,
I thank Sweet Monkey for the kind words.
Sweet
And
Monkey is Sweet Munchkin.
Yeah, that, and we'll swiftly move on. But thank you for your kind words.
No.
I'm
I
very
don't think we're ready.
humbled and grateful.
I don't think
Thank
we're ready
you.
to. I think what we need, we need to line up this date. And I think it would make fantastic content as well.
Oh, yeah.
No,
Could we have a poll? Could we have a poll on this?
Content, mate.
Should Shaheen date Sweet Munchkin? Poll. There you go. All day
Sweet
long.
Munchkin.
Behave yourselves, you three, right? Right.
I would
Listen.
That should be the
Shaheen, we're not-
forfeit. If
we're
he
not-
loses the predictions, he's got to go on this date.
Nah. What? I see. You see, because Levy's on top, yeah, every show we're doing, he's coming up with a new thing. Oh, you got to wear other God on your shirt. Oh, you got to do this. Nah, mate. Nah, brother. Brother.
I just think
He's
Sweet
turned proper
Munchkin,
Cockney.
please level with us. Send in a comment. Are you serious? Would you like to go on a date with Shaheen? He I don't know why he's not willing to just take it at face value, but the three of us are on his behalf, so we'll encourage him and let's make this happen. A nice day out in London. Shaheen can report back and let us know. Frankly, I'd be more interested to hear about that date than I would Arsenal Nottingham Forest. I'd rather next Monday we do a podcast and it's all about the date.
We can get Football London to do a little article on it as
Do
well.
a report on it. Head down to the mixer.
Are you-
Sweet Munchkin, how was the date for you?
Around at the restaurant with your notepad.
Out of
Are
10.
you guys quite finished?
Sweet Munchkin, let us know.
You guys done, yeah? Yeah? Can we move on now?
Are you
got
free on
anything
the
else you
weekend,
want to
Shaheen?
say? You got it all out, Lev?
Yeah, I think so. For
All
now,
right, good.
unless
Thank
there's
you.
more comments next week.
So we move on.
Tune in next week, Sweet Munchkin.
Yeah,
Part
we'll
3.
move on. Thank you very much for kind words, Sweet Munchkin. Appreciate it. We'll move on. Let's talk about the predictions for next week. We've got PSV away, and we've got Forest at home. Talking about this PSV away, considering the way that team has looked lately and the players and this and that, would you guys rotate heavily for this game, or no? You stick to the same team.
Who are you asking? Me?
Anyone? Tom, you go first.
I'd go reasonably strong. Reason being is if we can get a result in this game, it means that the Zurich game means nothing. And it means that we can have a whole week off before Chelsea, which is key. What we don't want to do is lose this and then have to get something against Zurich before Chelsea. So, yeah, I would go reasonably strong. I'd still swap out some key players. Like I wouldn't play Partey. I wouldn't play Jesus. But I would play some other key starters. I'd probably play one, potentially two of the front three, but probably just the one of the front three. Maybe Martinelli's had that a bit of an issue last week, so probably Saka with Nelson and Nketiah. And then Vieira, I'd probably still start Xhaka and Makonga. And then in the back line, I'd start Tomiyasu because I want Tierney to play against Forest. Holding, Gabriel, and right back. Cedric, maybe? He hasn't played all season.
Yeah.
And Turner, yeah. So, yeah. In terms of a prediction, I am going to go 2-2 for PSV. Wait, hold on. Isn't Lev meant to go first?
Yeah, but he was pissed off with me for the old sweet munchkin thing. So halfway through me going the conversation, he went, Tom. And he just blacked me. So just let him go with it, didn't I?
No, you said who's going for Lev? You were waiting, so I just said Tom. Why didn't you go with Lev since you feel left out?
The team, I would probably go something similar to what the one Tom's described. I mean, I would be in two minds with regards to Jesus. Could he maybe, get his confidence up by getting a goal? That would be quite useful. But yeah, I would be looking to rest as many of our important players as we can, but we do need to get this game over the line. So maybe play Jesus for the first half, see if he can get a goal. Maybe look to change it after that. But as a prediction, I'm a little bit concerned that we might drop players, with weekend in mind, and it could affect us. It really could. I'm kind of tempted to say we might even lose this one. Not because I don't think we're a good enough team to beat them, but because we might be dropping players and, it's going to have an effect. I reckon I'm going to say 1-1. That was the next one Mo wanted. Mo obviously wants to draw, so he's going to go 0-0.
The same score, Mo.
Mo wants to win this. You can see.
But you see, the thing is, I had already actually put in my prediction and earlier on today, and then I started looking at PSV's result on the weekend and prior.
Their home record's good.
Yeah, but they lost 4-2 away at Groningen, and the lost 3 games in Eredivisie. But a lot of their games have been very high scoring, and also when they played Rangers got a result away at PSV. All of these things combined, I thought to myself, Arsenal need a draw to top the group. And as a result of that, I think it probably will be a draw and a score draw. So I was going to go for 2-2, but also
you were going to go for a Desmond.
Yeah, I was going to go for a Desmond, but also I just feel that if we wrap up the group, if we go and get it done, you can't aim for a draw. You just go and aim to win the game. I think that's the easier way of managing things. Then we guarantee a rest against Zurich and a run up to Chelsea. So I feel that maybe there won't be as much rotation. And the whole point is when you're predicting a score draw, it's not a typical prediction. You hope to gain a differential if that's what you believe in. And you two guys have flipping gone and done it. So screw you. I'm going to go 2-1 Arsenal because
I hope you're right.
I want the differential.
Okay. I'll go for 1-0 PSV.
Oh, so there's going to be change.
Yeah, someone's got to do it, isn't it? He
do this. He has to.
I've got nothing to lose at this stage.
Want your team to lose.
No, here we go.
I'm going to be so annoyed if it is a score draw. I'll be livid.
It'll be 3-3, just about. That's what it'll be.
No, I'm going to go 1-0 PSV.
Okay. And what about Forest?
Forest, I'll go 2-0 Arsenal.
Why are you going first?
Hold on. What are you doing, son? Just relax your beans for a minute. Yeah, it's my turn.
I'm
gonna go. We're gonna win that game 2-0.
What?
Love that. Brilliant. Go on,
I'm going 3-0.
I'm going to go
Woo!
4-0.
Really?
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
Shaheen?
I'll go 3-1 Arsenal.
Final answers. Bang.
Fair enough.
He enjoyed that so much. He celebrated it with a few fireworks. Is what he's done.
People in the comments, chuck your
I think
predictions.
that's Sweet Munchkin outside trying to catch his attention with fireworks.
Maybe it's stones on the window.
You lot,
I
we've been
know.
doing this for about an hour and 20 minutes.
You
now,
lot, he's
man.
laughing, but I'm going to get a phone call being told off later on. That's the thing. He laughs on here and then he goes, he has a
man.
go.
You never defend me.
I've
Never
already
defend
blocked
me.
Why are you
you
selling
then.
out your boy, man? Yeah, sorry.
Man, I've already blocked you. So, you see, why do you think my head was down like this? It was just like Lev blocked. Anyway,
Good.
guys, thank you very much for being here. It was a wonderful show as always. We've done 1 hour 20 minutes more than usual. Lev, do you want to do the goodbyes and thanks everybody because these fireworks are just I can't really talk properly, man.
Now, thank you everyone who's joined us, all the usuals, your Gunner, Greg's, Humorizer, Luke, Pierre 147, Neil. We got Arsenal Manic, I think. There's loads of you on here. It keeps changing. But look, thank you for joining us. Sweet Munchkin, hit us up on the comments. Let us know where you're thinking next week and we can discuss this. If you haven't followed Moh already, you know where to find Moh on his channel. And you got Gooner Talk TV. He's there every morning at 8 a.m. doing his thing with his new microphone. So make sure you subscribe to Gooner Talk TV if you haven't already. And please like and subscribe. Keep your notifications on. Oh, on Wednesdays, we've got new shows coming up on Wednesdays as well. Keep your notifications on. That'll be announced tomorrow, and that'll be a regular thing. And Moh, I have not forgotten you. I've seen your comment there, man. Love you, respect.
Guys,
there you go.
don't forget to write comment for us where you're watching the show from. It's always very interesting for us, and we try to reply to your comment as much as we do. If we don't reply to your comment, you're always guaranteed a reply from good old Mr. Canton.
Someone
So
put Sweet Munchkin is probably Odegaard.
anyway, thank you very much for watching us. It was a wonderful evening and a wonderful show. Look after yourselves, and hopefully we will see you guys soon. Don't forget Wednesday at, is it 6 o'clock, Moh? Lev?
I think it'll be confirmed. I think it might be 7.
Right.
We'll
We'll
double
put a
check.
tweet out. Don't forget Wednesday. Have a wonderful evening. Take care.
Respect.